Hello, welcome to calculating unit rate. When calculating unit rate, while driving at a constant speed, John traveled a distance of 300 miles in 4 hours. First, we need to label the x and y columns in our tables with our independent and dependent quantities. So x is going to be hours, y is going to be miles. Enter 304 in the appropriate columns. The 300 from the situation represents miles, so we're going to put 300 in the y column, and 4 represents hours, so we'll put it under the x column. How many miles can John travel in 2 hours? Since 2 is being described by hours, we're going to put it in the x column. Our y value is going to be 1.5. If we take our 4 and divide it by 2, we get 2. So we take 300 and divide by 2 to get 150. How many miles can John travel in just 1 hour? 1 is describing hours, so it goes in the x column, and y is describing miles, which we calculate to be 75. John traveled 75 miles in 1 hour. We call this a unit rate. Please pause your video now to make sure you have all the important information written down. When calculating unit rate, a unit rate describes how many units of the first type of quantity correspond to 1 unit of the second type. We can also think of a unit rate as a rate in which the independent quantity is 1. The following are examples of types of unit rates you have seen in your daily life. Please pause and write down 3 of these examples. So the big fancy words on the screen before this simply mean that we are looking for the value of y when the value of x is 1. Please write this down in your notes. If we have an 8-ounce serving of yogurt that costs 96 cents, what is the cost per ounce or price for 1 ounce? We must start by labeling the x and y with independent and dependent. Our independent is ounces. Our dependent is cost. We want to enter the 8 and the 96 cents. 8 is the ounces from the original problem, and the 96 cents is the cost. What if we need to calculate the cost of 4 ounces? 4 is the number of ounces. It goes in the x column. Half of 8 is 4, so we can take half of 96 cents and we get 48 cents. So 4 ounces cost 48 cents. If I want to calculate the cost of 2 ounces, 2 goes in the x column, and we calculate it to be 24 cents. If I need the cost of just 1 ounce, I can calculate that to be 12 cents. 1 ounce of yogurt cost 12 cents, so the unit rate is 12 cents divided by 1. There surely must be an easier way to calculate unit rate without having to extend our table. Let's see if we notice any patterns. When I look at my table from the same problem, and I look at the rows where 8 ounces and 1 ounce can be found, is there anything that we notice? Well, I notice that 96 cents divided by 8 gives me 12. And that's the same thing that happens when I take 12 cents divided by 1. So what we can conclude is that dividing the dependent, or our y column, by the independent, which is our x column, we can find the unit rate. 96 cents divided by 8 is 12 cents. 48 cents divided by 4 is 12 cents. 24 cents divided by 2 is 12 cents. And 12 cents divided by 1 is still 12 cents. The unit rate can be calculated by finding y divided by x. Please do not confuse this with our delta y and delta x. That is not what we are discussing today. Today we are discussing unit rate. That is the value of y divided by the value of x. Now we have seen the y divided by x before, and that's when we were doing multiplicative and additive. Since each row has the same answer for y divided by x, and not only does it tell us the unit rate is 12 cents, but it also reminds us that this is a multiplicative relationship. Please fill this in on your handout. To calculate the unit rate, divide the y value by its corresponding x value for each row of the table. This is known as the ratio y divided by x. Denisha recorded the number of gallons her vehicle used for various distances she has traveled. Based on the data, how many miles per gallon does her vehicle get? Our question is to find miles per gallon, or the unit rate. We know to find that we have to take y divided by x for each row and simplify our ratios. 180 divided by 10 is 18. 270 divided by 15 is 18. And 360 divided by 20 is also 18. This tells us that her vehicle gets 18 miles per gallon, which is our unit rate. 1 gallon of gas gets us 18 miles. A hang glider recorded the following drops in altitude over time in seconds as he descends from a cliff. What is the rate in feet per second? We want to find feet per second. We know to find unit rate, we must find the y divided by x for every row and simplify. Negative 500 divided by 4 is negative 125. Negative 625 divided by 5 is the same. And as we do it for our other two rows, we notice that all rows have a ratio of negative 125. That is our unit rate. For every second of time, he falls 125 feet. With the y divided by x being the same for each row, we also know that this is a multiplicative relationship. It does go through the origin. When Susan converts feet to inches, we're asking for the unit rate. For this problem, we must find 2 points on the line to complete our table. So when x is 1, y is 12. 1 and 12 go in my first row. X is 2, y is 24. As we calculate the y divided by x for each row, we can see that the unit rate is going to be 12. Also keep in mind that the unit rate is the value of y when x is 1. As we were looking at our graph, we can see on the graph that when x is 1, y is 12. So really we didn't need to complete our table, but it does help just to make sure we're doing it correctly. Joan was given the graph shown below. What is the unit rate? We're being asked to find unit rate. We should enter 2 points on the line in the table and find y divided by x. Before we use our table, let's see if we can calculate the unit rate with just a graph. Remember that the unit rate is the value of y when x is 1. So if we go to our graph and find x is 1 and go down, we can see right here that that y is negative 3. Let's see if we get the same answer from the table. I didn't put the answers in. So our rate of Our unit rate is -3. We can find that by only using the graph. In the equation, y equals 7 3/4 x describes the amount of money, K, that Crystal earns at her part-time job for x hours of work. What is her hourly rate? We want to find her rate of pay for 1 hour. We're going to choose values for x. We're going to use our expression 7 3/4 x to determine y, and then simplify y by x. If she works no hours, she gets no pay. If she works 1 hour, she gets $7.75. And wait, look, right here in our table, we have found the value of y when x is 1. So she makes $7.75 per hour. We can also notice that the 7 3/4 from the equation is the same thing as my unit rate. So unit rate can be found by taking y divided by x in a table, or we can simply take the coefficient from an equation. It also describes our unit rate. How many centimeters are in a meter? We're going to find centimeters in 1 meter. We're going to choose values for m. And you should get 100. Again, the 100 from the coefficient does become my unit rate. Let's do some recap notes. Unit rate is the value of y when x is 1. We can find this in a graph or from a table. Unit rate is the same as a coefficient when our equation is in the form of y equals ax. And this just means that we are not adding or subtracting anything, that we do have a multiplicative relationship. It can also be calculated by using y divided by x for each row of the table. Please pause your video to write these recap notes down.